Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Rob, and if this is your first time here, welcome. It's nice to meet you. If you're returning, welcome back. Been having a hard time getting this video off the ground. It's a little long. It's going to be a little longer, I think, than my typical videos. But I want to talk about the art of growing old. Might sound like kind of a wishy-washy title, but also, if you're here for some quick advice, this is the wrong video for you, because this, I think, is going to be a longer video. I got several things I want to talk about. This is something I think about a lot, and it's kind of something that I wish I had put more thought into when I was younger, and perhaps you feel that way too. So there's a couple things I want to do in this video. I want to go over the things that I think what are the challenges of growing older, and I want to turn those around and give you a different perspective, another way to think about those things, in the hopes that that would help those of you who might be not struggling with getting older. I mean, we're all getting older. It's nothing. I mean, we're all good at it. We're all the same at it. We're getting older. Nothing we can do about it. But some people handle it better than others. I also want to kind of demonstrate the challenges of an older person, older as in over 40. I'm in my mid-50s. But as you get older, things start to change. Things become harder. And making a video like this, for example, I think is a lot harder than it would have been had I been doing this when I was younger. I'm a relatively new YouTuber. I guess I started about 4 years ago, but really I only really got going this year. So in my mid-50s. And I don't know if this resonates with you guys, whoever's watching, but for myself, I find it a lot harder to stay on topic, and that's why my videos tend to be a little bit longer. So for example, if I want to talk about something, if there's several things I want to talk about, I'll sit down like this and I'll start talking, but I'll lose my train of thought. Some people will walk by. I don't love making videos in front of people. I just find that these things make it more difficult. And I think it makes it more difficult the older that you are. Losing your train of thought. Memory, that's like a health decline issue. But I want to kind of flip that on its head too. So why don't I just get going? So the first thing that I want to talk about, the first main challenge of getting older is health. Health deteriorates over time. We're not as healthy when we're older as we were when we were younger. And we also didn't think about it as much when we were younger. We took things for granted. I know I did. And if I'm talking to those who are younger, I would say, try not to take it. See, I lost my train of thought again. Try not to take it for granted. It's special. Being young and healthy is special. And you're only young and healthy once, if you're lucky enough to be healthy. And as we get older, it's nice to be able to stay as healthy as we possibly can. But that's not always within our control. We have some control over some things. So I'm losing the sun now. I don't have control over that. This video is going to get darker. We have some control over some things, but we don't have total control. So, I mean, we can do some exercises, right, to try to stay as healthy as we can. Exercising for the purposes of staying in shape or getting in shape becomes harder as you get older, but I'd like to flip it around, and what I try to do is think of it as basically a blessing that I am older, right? Like when I was younger, I would have, probably thought that, oh yeah, I want to live till I'm 80, 90, 100, beyond, right? And now I'm in my mid-50s. My body doesn't work the way it used to, but I don't feel like I should be sad about that, because if I were in my 20s, I would be happy that I wanted to live this long and much longer, right? I guess we don't think when we're younger about the fact that, health deteriorates over time. So, and I'm not just talking about just regular stuff, but other things can happen too. Like we could get diseases, right? Cancer is a bad one. Some people get cancer. Some people get it at a young age. More people get it when they're older. So, I mean, we don't know how long we have, but I think it's a real good idea to make the most of the time that we do have. I've got some notes here just to make sure that I don't forget any. That's what I tend to do when I make longer videos like this. Another challenge that comes around as we get older is our social circles tend to change. And what I mean by that is my 20-year-old self hung around with way different people than my current self does. Okay, I was in university, going to parties, going downtown a lot, out to bars, nightclubs, things like that, just having a good time. It was all about having a good time. And learning, of course. I was going to school, but the priority was to have a good time. That was my priority, probably not my parents' priority. But as you age, things change. You may have kids, you may get married, you then may have grandkids, and so on. And every major step in life like that you take, the people you hang out with tends to change too. You'll get a job. You'll get not just a job like the first job you get when you're younger, but perhaps a career. Maybe you become a professional at something and you have a quote unquote real job. Priorities change. The people you hang out with change. The things you do when you hang out change. But again, try not to look back at your 20s and be all sad that, oh, I don't have that time anymore. I mean, I don't know that many people do that. More often than not, people my age wouldn't want to do that anymore anyways. And but yeah, just keep that in mind. Like, things change. You do things for different reasons, and you do different things based on what you've got going on in your life. Okay, so social circles tend to change. Technology gaps happen as you age. I'm trying to hang on as long as I can to my tech knowledge. I'm making videos, I'm using my phone, I use a MacBook back home and cameras and all this stuff. I'm pretty plugged into tech, more so than the average person, I would think, at my age. But as you get older, tech changes. The younger crowd picks it up quite easily and perhaps takes it for granted. But as you get older, tech can become challenging, and, maybe you still like, to pop in a CD to listen to music, right, at home. Maybe you have a home stereo system, whereas the younger generations don't use CDs at all. They'll use Spotify or Apple Music or whatever streaming service they want to use. Things like cable TV. Us older people keep using it, but the younger folks probably won't, and they don't now. They're into Netflix and Disney Plus or whatever, all the streaming services. So there's a big technology gap that you have to kind of manage as you get older. Let's check and see if anybody's behind me. I was hoping to do this video a little earlier to keep the light longer, but we'll do what we can. A big one is your appearance. A lot of people really struggle with this one. Because your appearance does change as you get older, quite obviously. How many of us would like to have our, 25-year-old bodies back? Maybe not everybody. Some people may not have been in shape at all and, are in better shape now in their 50s than they were then. But more often than not, people, as you age, your body changes, and your appearance changes to a point where you don't like it as much as you did before, typically. Again, I'd like to flip that script as well, and just say, appearances do change, but, we don't hang around with people in our 20s anymore. So if we're hanging around with people our age, everything is cool. Like, it doesn't matter. And the bottom line is, for most people, looks don't matter as much anymore anyways. So, and I'm not saying at all that as you age, looks decline. I mean, some people think that. I just tend to think they don't decline, they change. You get older. So who decided that somebody who's 25 years old or 20 years old, that is as good as they're ever going to look, right? And when you were 25 or 20, is that what you thought? Did you think, this is as good as I'll ever look? Like, that's, I don't think so. I think we probably took that for granted. right? Whatever our looks were, I'm losing my hair, or have lost most of it, going gray, right? These are the things that happen. There's nothing we can do to stop it. I mean, you can color hair, I suppose. You can put hair back in some cases, but for the most part, right, we get older, we have to deal with it. And I choose to deal with things like that with a laugh and a smile. And I like to joke about myself. Like, there's no point in me trying to look like I'm 20. I never will. Nor do I want to. Some people might think, oh, you're lying. If you could be 20 again, you would. No, I don't think so. I don't, why? I was there, Life is about experiences. And this kind of brings me into my next point. I keep looking behind me to see if anybody's coming up behind me, because I hate that when I'm making a video and people are coming behind me. Let me know if you struggle with that too. But what was I going to say? Experiences, yes. So as you age, you gain life experiences, okay? And you gain wisdom, all right? And part of me is trying to deliver some of that to the younger people right now. I'm trying to deliver wisdom to those in their 20s, but at the same time trying to open the eyes of those who are my age and perhaps older to the possibilities of being our own age. You can share your experiences with people, and people need to know your experiences. They need to know how to do things, how to navigate life. We go through this life, as far as we know, once. And, I've only ever been 55 once, right? And the things I learn when I'm 55, is something that a 20-something wouldn't have learned yet. So I've learned things in my life. That's a good way to put it, lessons. I've learned my lessons several times. You learn lessons by making mistakes, of course, by watching other people make mistakes. It's all part of life. Right? So I'm not about to tell somebody who's younger, don't do that, do this. I'm trying to stop you from making a mistake. I mean, we can do that to a point, but the bottom line is people need to make mistakes themselves. They need to learn their lessons on their own terms. So whether that's by making the mistake and then learning about it, or seeing somebody else, but more often than not, just being told not to do something or to do something in a certain way isn't going to cut it with somebody who's younger. They're not really listening. And that kind of brings me to this whole legacy thing. When I think about my family's future generations, I love the idea that people in my family who I don't even know yet, so my kids' kids who don't exist yet, and perhaps their kids, I love the idea that they could potentially watch this video and hear me speak and hear me share my thoughts. I think that's a huge gift for me. Now, the ability to talk to people I don't even know yet, but perhaps share some advice. Because if I were to think about my great-great-grandparents, whom I've never met, I never knew them, only stories, right? If I could hear them speak and share their thoughts, wouldn't I love that? I would absolutely love that if I could find a hard drive somewhere where they would have made a video like this. Obviously, that tech didn't exist back then, but wouldn't that be cool? I've made videos about this before, but that's something that I think is super cool, and I would love. So because of that, we now have the ability to leave these types of messages for our future generations. So why don't we, right? Why don't we make, and I'm not even just talking about, leaving a video will, right? I mean, sure, you can do that, but just making several, a whole bunch of videos, daily vlog type videos, or sharing advice videos like I'm trying to do here. I think that'd be super cool to have a whole bunch of videos like that other people can then stumble across and see and watch. So that's also part of why I even do YouTube. And it's, I think, a great reason why some people my age and older should consider it. Because, I just think it's cool. I just think it's the coolest thing. Something else that's a huge challenge for a lot of people as you get older is the loss of loved ones, death. So sure, we can experience that at all points in life when we're younger as well, but the reality is, as we get older, we do tend to lose friends and family more frequently, right? The closer you get to the end of your life, let's say you're 95, 100, whatever, if you're 100 years old, you've probably lost a lot of loved ones, friends, family, in your life, and that's hard. So yeah, some people think, well, I don't want to live that old because I'll lose all my friends. I'd rather be the first to go. Well, I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I like to think of it as a gift that you've been able to live as long as you have, and you can, keep those memories of your friends, family, and loved ones alive inside you. So that's the way I choose to think about that. But that is a challenge of getting older. We do have to deal with that a little more than we otherwise would. This is one that is kind of fun. Not fun. Well, yeah, it could be. Slower pace of life, in that as you get older, and I touched on this a little bit earlier in this video, as you get older, things don't come to you as quickly. For me, anyways, things don't come to me as quickly as they once did. Talking about now, just in everyday conversation, like what I'm doing now, I feel like I'm in a bit of a groove, so things are going pretty well. I'm talking and hopefully I'm sounding coherent, but what happens a lot to me is I will lose my train of thought, and I've only really noticed this since I hit 50. Since a few years ago, since I hit 50, I have been losing my train of thought more and more, and I just try to have fun with that. It doesn't get me sad. Some people do get sad about things like that. Oh, my brain is failing, my memory is failing, and these things. But what are you going to do about it? There's not much you can do. I suppose, depending on the reasons for failing memory, maybe there could be an underlying disease there at work, could be dementia or Alzheimer's, something like that. But that aside, I think people generally will start to have memory difficulties naturally. Anyway, it's part of growing older. So I choose to embrace that. I try to a little bit have fun with it, especially if I see somebody having a problem with it themselves, like not my memory, but their memory. If they I'm thinking of some loved ones that perhaps their memory is failing, and perhaps of some people too who are getting older and their memory's not what it used to be. It takes them longer to tell a story, to get a sentence out. Sometimes they can't find the right word, and that can be very frustrating for people. Again, I choose to try to acknowledge that when it's happening and kind of have fun with it a little bit and laugh about it, but not everybody can do that. If you could do that, I think you'd have a much better time with it. But again, some people just don't. They'll get sad, they'll get upset. My memory's failing and I don't know what to do about it. Well, in a lot of cases, there's probably not a lot you can do about it because we're getting older. But so just acknowledging that some people are, get upset about those things, I think is important. I don't for a second think that I can fix really any of this, but particularly people who are struggling with something like that, I don't feel like I can fix their sadness or their attitude towards it. It's going to be what it is. I can joke about my own issues with them, and maybe some of that will rub off on them. I try to do it that way sometimes, but at the end of the day, if somebody's going to be sad about the way their mind is going and their memory is failing, then I think the best thing we can do is just kind of be patient with them, is what I think is the best thing. Just be patient. And this brings me in, I wasn't even going to talk about this, but this brings me to a little story, not really a story, but another way I choose to think or handle these things. So the way to think about it, if somebody is taking a long time to tell a story and they're struggling to find the words, and it probably doesn't even matter what age they are, I think it's super helpful if you just let them be. Let them tell their story. Let them find the word, because I think it can be frustrating if you constantly give them the word that they're looking for, right? I mean, you can do that the odd time. I think that's probably fine. But I, for the most part, I don't think people love that, and it's, I don't know, I look at it as a little bit disrespectful. Not really disrespectful, that's the wrong word. If I tell you the second half of this story, that might kind of tie it together, but the other side of this is if an elderly person tells you something or is in the middle of telling a story that you've heard them say before, and this happens a lot, right? It happens. I find myself doing it now. I'll tell stories that I know I've told before, and I'm telling it to people that I've probably told it to before, but at the moment, I don't realize that. But I've been on the receiving end of stories where I've heard them many times, and what I've decided that is probably the best way to handle that, instead of telling somebody, oh, I've already heard that, no need to say it again. Sometimes that might upset the person, but more often than not, it might, they'll realize, oh yeah, no, I have said that before. Okay, crap, I'm getting older or whatever. I think a better way to look at that is think of it as that person isn't telling you the story because they think you need to hear it because you haven't heard it before. I mean, it might come across that way, but what I think is really going on is the person telling the story is reliving that story by telling it. And if you can look at it that way, then I think you'd be more apt to just let them tell the story. Right? Like, let the person tell their story. They're reliving it. More often than not, it's a happy story, or even if it's not, they're reliving something of their memories. Maybe it's from a time when they were much younger, and maybe a part of them wished they were back there or then. But let them finish their story. Let them tell their story. Let them relive that story. That's what I'm trying to do now, and I just think it will result in more smiles all around. So that's that advice there. Now let me just look at my notes. I want to see if I didn't miss anything. It's getting dark here. I hope this video ends up working out. You know what? This video is much longer than my regular videos, so I don't expect a lot of you to have made it this far, but if you have, thank you for sticking around. This is just me sharing my thoughts. I don't know that it's what everybody wants to hear from me. For the most part, I make videos trying to help people get into YouTube. This one is a little bit different. It's not that at all. One that I forgot to mention was financial uncertainty. So that is something that a lot of people have to deal with as they age. Some people may not have saved enough money for retirement. Some people, there comes a point in time when you cross a certain age threshold and you'll start thinking, oh, do I have enough money to retire? When can I retire? And you start doing this math, right? Some people haven't saved enough. Some people have all kinds, some people aren't even thinking. So when you're younger, these are the things you don't even think about. You're told, you have a job now, you got a good job, you should be saving, X percent a month or whatever you can. At some point you're probably going to want to buy a house. You probably going to get married, have kids. All these things, cost a lot of money, and it's going to become harder and harder to save as you get older. Now, this is where we come back to my 20-year-old self wouldn't have taken this advice and did not take this advice at all. And most people wouldn't. That's the kind of thing that does come with wisdom and experience and age. So, if anybody who is in their 20s and 30s that is watching this and made it this far, Congratulations. I did not expect you to make it this far. I expect the older you are, the more apt you are to make it this far in the video. It's getting busy around here. Yeah, so it's winter time here. It's almost the end of December in 2024. People are out enjoying the snow. We don't usually get this much snow around here. Anything else I missed here? I think my video is probably long enough. There is a couple other things here. No, I think that's enough. Thank you guys for watching this. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know. I'm kind of, I make videos like this, advice type videos, but I also make how-to videos on how to do things to grow YouTube channels, if that's what you're interested in. Yeah, if you were here just because of the age angle of this video, I don't even know what I'm going to call this yet, but if that's why you're here, then thanks for stopping by, and that probably means you're new to my channel, and if so, welcome. I hope you stick around, and I hope you enjoyed this. And for all those who are used to watching my videos, thanks for watching this one, a little bit different. But yeah, I think I'll stop it there. Thanks guys, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.